Since the dawn of humanity, the mystery of creation has always been a fascinating and inspiring topic. How did everything begin? Where did we come from? These questions have fueled beliefs and cultures throughout the centuries. Today, we will dive into ancient texts, specifically the book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible, which offers one of the most well-known and emblematic stories about the origin of the world. The book of Genesis was written and compiled during a period when the people of Israel were in contact with other Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and Canaanite cultures, which also had their own narratives about the creation of the world. These cultures presented complex myths about gods creating the cosmos out of chaos. For example, the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation myth, describes a battle among gods and the use of a goddess's body to create the world. The Genesis narrative stands apart from these accounts by introducing a single, omnipotent God who creates through his word alone, without any need for conflict. The book of Genesis is a foundational text for understanding creation within the Judeo-Christian context. It is estimated that the texts were written and compiled between 1500 and 500 BC, though their origin and transmission may date back to even earlier periods, passed down orally from generation to generation. Over time, these stories were recorded on scrolls, taking on form and structure. Within this text, we find two distinct narratives about the creation of the world, Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. In Genesis 1, the creation of the world is described in an organized, almost poetic manner. God creates the universe in 6 days and rests on the seventh. We can imagine the solar system where the Earth now orbits, a void and profound darkness. The Earth was formless and empty. Darkness covered the face of the deep. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. Evening passed, and morning came, the first day. On the second day, God separated the waters and created the firmament, the sky, which could refer to Earth's atmosphere and the infinite space where the stars move. On the third day, God caused dry land to emerge, calling it earth, and vegetation to grow. God said, "Let the earth produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees that bear fruit with seed according to their kinds." And so it was. On the fourth day, he made 2 great lights, the greater light to govern the day, the sun, and the lesser light to govern the night, the moon. He also made the stars. On the 5th day, God created all marine creatures and birds to fill the skies. He blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the waters of the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth." On the 6th day, God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, wild animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground." On that same day, he created man in his image and likeness. God commanded, "Let them rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock, and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." And God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. Evening passed, and morning came, the 6th day. Thus, in 6 days, God completed the creation of all the natural wonders we can contemplate, and on the 7th day, he rested. In the next chapter, we find another perspective on creation, focusing on the story of the first man and woman, Adam and Eve, revealing the beginning of humanity in the Garden of Eden. God created man from the dust of the earth and breathed into him the breath of life, making him a living being. He also created a garden called Eden, where he placed man to live, giving him the responsibility of cultivating and keeping this paradise. In the middle of the garden, God placed two trees: the tree of life, which grants eternity to those who eat its fruit, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And the Lord God commanded the man, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die." God had created various animals and brought them to the man to be named. However, no suitable helper was found for the man. So, God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep, and from one of his ribs, he created the woman Eve. Upon seeing her, Adam recognized her as part of himself, and together they began to live in the Garden of Eden. At that moment, everything was perfect and good in God's eyes. The man and woman were capable of not sinning, living in a terrestrial paradise with abundant fruit trees, animals, and water. There was no work, suffering, or sadness, and death did not touch them. However, we know it did not remain that way. Thank you for watching. If you want to follow a historical journey through the greatest biblical events, subscribe here on Historia de Hoji and don't miss the upcoming videos. Take care and see you next time.